we can use very often. The Indus civilization perished. The Indus script ceased to exist. The signs became symbols. They floated around in folklore and in various kind of symbols. And their names were remembered, their sounds were remembered. They were translated into Sanskrit. Sometimes rightly, many times wrongly. The interesting thing is, if you compare the right translation with the wrong translation, you know you are getting, as in this particular case. Now, Pushan is described in the Veda, last paragraph, as the eater of gruel. Now, it is puzzling that Pushan, who is a well-nourished god, is on a starvation diet. Why? Veda does not explain. But in later Vedic literature, Pushan was toothless, a dantaka. What happened to his teeth? When the gods offered the fruit of their sacrifice to him, the potent stuff knocked off his teeth. And this is the myth. But the solution to the myth is in the Indus script. I am saying that Ambal meant assembly, and it was misunderstood as Ambal Kruval. And thus, the Lord of the assembly in the Indus script became the eater of gruel in the Veda. This is how myths are formed. But when you translate it back into Indus, you get the real meaning. He of the assembly, or Lord of the assembly. Fortunately, there are other verses in the Veda which identify him as the hero of the assembly and give the Sanskrit word Vidata. Now, Vidata means assembly and Vidata member of the assembly. Here is a case where we have both the wrong translation and the right translation corroborating each other, and therefore the sign F placed at crossroad that you see there is right. The Dravidian root is Ambal, equivalent Tamil is Ambaram. Since it also meant gruel, it gave rise to the myth. One of the things I've learned in studying the Indus script is about the myth. Myth, of course, is a myth, it is mythical. But behind every myth, there is a reality. So if you examine the myth, you will find the reality. In the case of Indus studies, the Sanskrit version gives the myth. You take it back to the Dravidian Indus version, you get the reality, as in this case. Now, I give another example. Pushan is also known in Veda. He is given a title, Agrani. In fact, next alone to Pakaspati, Lord of the Lord. Agrani is the most frequent title for Pushan. It means the glowing one. Now, a frequent and exclusive epithet of Pushan is Agrani, glowing with heat. Sayana says Agrani is Agata Deepti, fire which has come into existence or is born, that is fire when ignited or kindled. I give a new interpretation of Agrani based on the sign V hook, which leads to a better understanding of the Vedic phrase. Now, cold, hook in the sea, which we have seen in the earlier slides, from which you get more cold water receiver. Cold was misunderstood as cold, coldly, set on fire, firebrand, nerve, kolikate. So, cold hook, which should have been to receive in water, was misunderstood as coldly, firebrand, and which is the source for the known translation. Thus, coldly, receiver of water of the Indus, became Agrani, the glowing one, firebrand in Vedic. Next. Another very interesting epithet of Pushan is Ajashva, one whose horses are goats. Now, normally, chariots are drawn by horses, not by goats. Now, why is Pushan's chariot drawn by the goats? There is no explanation in the Rig Veda. It's an ancient legend. Now, one of the peculiar traits of Pushan is that his chariot is drawn by goats, Aja, not by horses, Ashwa. Hence, his epithet Ajashva. But Veda does not say why. Here again, we get the clue in the Dravidian word. Mar, to turn back. Intended meaning is mar, exchange of goods, barter, merchant. Unintended meaning money, goat, sheep. In Tamil, money is small goat, small sheep. Automatic money. So it becomes Joshua. Thus, in later times, money to turn back was misunderstood as money, same root, goat or sheep, which the source of the myth, the Pushan's chariot, was drawn by goats instead of horses, hence Joshua. Here you see that when you take the Vedic translation back to Indus, the myth gets dissolved and the reality comes out. It's a case that money turned back was misunderstood as money goat. Next. And I shall give you the sixth and the last of the peculiar portraits of Pushan, peculiar traits. Epithet, this is Agokhya, one from whom nothing is concealed. Now, one of Pushan's peculiar traits is his ability to discover lost or concealed things. If you lose your car keys, you have to pray to Pushan. Then he will tell you it is in your left pocket. So his unique ability is to find out lost things. Now how did he get this power? Because in the Veda, he is just a cattle keeper. Why should he have this power? So the answer is, when the context was lost, the word was misunderstood and it was wrongly translated. Now look at the result. Martre, to barter, was misunderstood as marai, martre, to conceal, to hide. Hence, Pushan became originally according to the Pushya secret, then Agokhya by a curious process. He was originally called Lord of Concealment, and then a positive attitude was taken. The Lord of Concealment meant the Lord who helps you when things are concealed. Just as Vignesha was originally the Lord of Obstacles and he became the Lord who saved you from obstacles. Same process is here. Next. I am skipping this. This deals with the description of Pushan in the Veda as pastoral agriculture god. And pointing out he was originally the god of the rich, which means settlement. Settlement of the non-Aryan people outside the Vedic villages, from which the chief was called Vishampat. Later he was called Vaishya. In original Sanskrit, Vaishya originally meant a farmer, an agriculturist. Later he became a trader. And Solgapti mentions both Vedan and Vaida as belonging to the same group. So that I have detailed here, and that the flow has come even in the urban time, but I don't have to all the time go through the details. Let this also history. Now we come to the last two slides. One is again, here comes the whole thing. In the first section again, we read it as Indus trade, meaning merchant of the city. In the second section, we read it as a Tamil phrase, meaning Malan, Shindi, Padudi, Pandian. Now, when it goes to the Indus script, something much more fabulous has happened. In the one each, for each of them, there are two or three interpretations, right interpretation, wrong interpretation, right overform, Part3 misunderstood. I will not go into details except to tell you, starting from, I first start with sign C, Pataspati. Sign C is a crossroad, Pataspati from Dravidian Padi Pad, Pushan from Dravidian Vadi, the prosperous one, Karambar, one who eats gruel, from Dravidian Ambalam Assembly. Vidatya is the corresponding right translation. Coming to sign B, Agrini, fire. from Kolli in Tamil, originally Mar Kolli, became Kolli the firewood. Then we have sign A, where Mar become Mari, goat, Ajashva, and Mare, conceal, Agotia. There are other words which I have not given. Now, as far as sign D is concerned, it is not carried over into D because it is not a lexical item. It's a grammatical subject. The other three Indus signs account for the traits of ocean we saw above. The Indus phrase, water receiver, prosperous resident chief, re-emerged in early Vedic age as ocean, the Vaishya god, with characteristic traits inherited from the Indus civilization, but with modified meaning in the Veda due to loss of the original context and the long interval of time between the two epochs. I have summarized the entire paper in a grid. If I may confess to you, when I began writing it took me 6 years of research on the fourth side and 1.5 years to write the paper. When I began, I did not know it will end up in a grid. As you may know, the grid is the holy grail sought by all the would-be disciples. Let me tell you how the grid is formed. There are 3 rows left to right. The first row is the Indus phrase. The second row is the Pandya names and titles. The last row is the Vedic portion. So these are the 3 rows. Then you have got columns. There is 1 column under the wood, mark, barker, 2 columns under hook, hold or check, and 2 columns under crossword, what or what. You can forget the grammatical section. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what this represents is a crossword puzzle. A crossword puzzle which has got 15 interjunctions, 15 intersections. Except that in the crossword puzzle you solve in Sunday newspapers, you have only 1 letter of the alphabet. Here I have put 1 word. And that 1 word has to be in 3 languages. It has to be old Indus Dravidian or late old Tamil or Vedic in another language altogether. So unless in all the 15 sections, all the 15 words turn out right, the grid cannot be formed. And therefore, this grid is the ultimate and final proof that we have here an Indus phrase which has been correctly traced to old Tamil survival and Vedic survivals much earlier, from which I come to the last 3 major conclusions, each conclusion referring to 1 section of the book of the monograph. If the findings of the present study are accepted, the following important conclusions emerge. 1. The language of the Indus civilization was an early form of Dravidian. This I have found out from the rebus, which is language specific, and we have a number of examples. Due to the migration of a section of the Indus population southwards, forming some settlements in South India, the Indus Dravidian influenced the South Indian languages. The earliest attestation of such influence are found in Old Tamil. Now this is a matter of accident. Actually, the Indus people were the Telugus. If only the old Telugus had maintained their language, old Telugu would have given us the solution to the Indus script. If only Hala has written this Sattasai in old Telugu like Ahanadu, they did not. They were, the Andhra kings were vassals under the Mauryas. And just as today I talk to you in English, they talk to each other in Prakrit, and the old Telugu suffers. But in Tamil Nadu, the Chera Choda Pandya, the chieftains like Aziman, they fostered and promoted Tamil. They used Tamil for inscriptions, for coins, for reading, for writing, for literature. And therefore, Tamil is attested earliest hardly maybe 20, 30, 40 years after the Ashoka inscription. The southernmost Part3 inscription in Old Tamil has been found at the southern end of Sri Lanka, which contains the word Chirali Muri, the agreement of the assembly. And that is why the whole term. People who object to reading old terms in Indus generally point out to the distance between them in time and space. I have answered that migration is the answer. If Himalayan's migrating from Kashmir can come to Calcutta, then very well, Dravidian migrating from Mohenjo-daro can come to Madurai. The same migration of either way. And the Vedic age succeeded the Indus civilization. This is my finding on the Veda, which I am quite sure is likely to be very controversial, but I stand by it, that the Veda itself is a product of the composite culture. The time interval between the Indus text and the Veda must have been sufficiently long to account for the dim recollection and the mythologization seen in the Vedic equivalent of Indus name and type. And that is how I try to found the key to the Indus code. But it is only the key to the main door. You open, there are hundreds of doors inside, each requiring a key, because each is a word sign. And all the Vedic and syllabic decipherment is about the question. The kind of methodology I have evolved, it is touch and go. It may work, it may not work, but when you collect more and more evidence, you come to a point where you break through. And I think I have reached that point today. Thank you very much for having listened to the lecture, and I apologize again for my bad throat. Thank you all.
I know you will be having a number of questions. As I mentioned earlier, please insert the questions and write the questions to the email address rmrl in a week's time. rmrl@data1.ie. And ask some of the staff, in case you do not note it down, they'll write for you. And or check our website for the address. This paper is a very intense one. We have been going through this since we wrote this paper over and over again, rereading, digesting. I'm sure you also be doing. Since you, till you write your questions, please keep ruminating about the idea. The most important thing and the interesting thing in this paper is not just the decoding of the script, it is also the methodology that he has provided. So it just opened the gateway to research where it is important to understand the multilingual approach of this subject. So please join me in thanking Dr. Airavata Mahadevan. And standing ovation. Thank you. I also want to thank Mr. Balakrishnan for presiding over this function. He is here only for this function here today. Thank you, sir. And I also want to thank Professor Nani Siromani for this invitation. Thank you, all of you. Have a good evening.